thick underbrush. The animals are very well adapted to live here. So we're going to have to look carefully if we're going to spot any of them this morning. There is an okapi and a yellowback duiker over here in the bamboo to the far right. They're both very difficult to see. Here comes the okapi. The okapi is very timid and shy. The okapi wasn't even identified in the wild by Western man until about 1901. The stripes that you see on the okapi's legs are actually camouflage and help them to blend into their surroundings. And she's a little shy this morning. The okapi is not related to the zebra. You going to come out again or not? There she is. Observation trail at the end of the trip. There's an observation blind there, and they've got a terrific exhibit that shows you the skeleton hanging into the trees all day. The okapi is only 6 feet tall, and she doesn't have that problem. There's the duiker. The duiker is an antelope. Its name means diver because it dives in the brush when it's scared. Yellow bass stripe on the back is one of the larger duiker species. Water goes pretty quiet this morning. That's normal. Most of the animals, they were here at dawn this morning. They drink their fill, they take refuge in the brush, and of course then some of them won't be back now till the sun goes down. Some very rare animals living here. We'll be lucky enough to see one or two of them. That is a black rhinoceros up there. The black rhino is the smaller of the two African rhino species. This guy's been rolling in the mud, so it looks like an orange rhino. But he weighs about 2,500 pounds, has no natural enemies, and yet there's only about 4,500 of them left on the entire African continent. These are bongo right in front of us. The bongo, another forest antelope, they're known as the ghost of the forest. Their horns look like a tuning fork. They're tilted at the perfect angle over their head, so when they run, they won't become entangled in the bushes, allowing them to escape to safety deep in the forest. Well, look at the size of those ears. There's the black rhino up on the ridge to the left. This is what we call the north end of a southbound, but anyway. He's got a very narrow jaw lip, which he's not going to show you this morning. But the black rhino is actually very well adapted to live in a forest environment like this. They eat the leaves off the bushes and trees. There are two African rhino species. The white rhino lives out in the open grassland, and we will look for them a little bit later. Right now we're headed for Safi River to look for hippopotamus. Safi River has been the home of a pretty good sized herd of Nile hippo for almost 15 years now. On this road, two chances to look for hippos. A quick look on the right as we make the turn. And then we will ford the river. And once we get to the other side of the river, you'll have a pretty good look on the left. Now, there is a research group out here this morning, and they feed the hippos. And here's a bull hippo getting a free meal. This is about 4,500 pounds of hippopotamus. Please sit down. Excuse me, row 2, sit down, please. Thank you. They have very small sweat glands. They can't afford to get caught out of the river because if their body overheats, there is no way for them to cool off. The hippopotamus is nocturnal, so they sleep most of the day in the water. Stay nice and cool. The water protects them from sunburn. They eat at night. Looks like we got more hippos over here on the left. They are social. They form groups that are named crushes. They're protective of their young and rather territorial, so don't go wandering along the river unless you know what you're doing. The island, that's the pink-backed pelican. It's an endangered species. And the good news is they've nested here 5 years in a row, and there's been lots of little baby pelicans born on that island. The hippos are partially concealed behind the island. They like to stay in physical contact with each other. There is safety in numbers out here. You'll notice that they rest their chin on the backside of their friend. Well, that allows them to keep their nostrils and their eyes out of the water so they can keep an eye on what's going on around them. They are responsible for more human deaths and injuries in Africa than any other animal. And that is because the canoes and small boats wander into their territory all the time, and because they are so territorial, they just flip them over. Now, those are crocodiles, and they are swimming in the water directly beneath this bridge, so it is very important that both you and your children remain seated. The Nile crocodile is bigger than the American alligator, and they're more aggressive. These crocodiles are anywhere from 9 to 15 feet long, and they weigh well over 500 pounds each. Their jaws are powerful enough to crush bone. They generate about 1,200 pounds of pressure per square inch as they snap those jaws shut. They have webbed toes, but they don't swim with their feet. No, they swim with their tail. They are able to propel themselves in and out of the water at almost 30 miles an hour, so don't get too close to them. Because if they do latch onto you, they're not likely to let go. We're going to start coming out of the forest. And you see some blue sky overhead. There it is. And you'll see some open grassland on the left. There it is. That's the grasslands of East Africa. They are an entirely different ecosystem than the forest we were just in. And there are all different animals living out there. It's kind of hard to see them from up here.